matter if your vehicle runs or not. It'll be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car. And as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now. Call 1-800-639-8620. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-639-8620. That's 1-800-639-8620.
Do you love to gamble? Do you enjoy listening to people talk about gambling? Well, then I have some good news for you. Every weeknight at 6 p.m., you can hear John Reed and William Patteson go over the slate, thanks to our friends at VIP Play. Sports topics aren't always black and white, but on the slate, they are always green. Nothing but trends, angles, and bets to try to make you some money. The Slate, presented by VIP Sports on Fan Run Radio, weeknights from 6 to 7 p.m.
This is Coach Josh Heupel. In football and life, you need a solid defense to protect what matters most. That's where Farm Bureau Insurance of Tennessee comes in. Score peace of mind with Farm Bureau Insurance, the official insurance of the Vols. They're your line of defense. FBITN.com.
This is Baseball VFL Cody Brown. Farm Bureau Insurance is the official insurance of the Tennessee Vols. I'm here to be that line of defense for all your insurance needs. Give me a call at 865-992-3871 and go Vols.
Located in Knoxville's historic Old City, Barley's offers great food, live music, the best draft beer selection in town, and now your new favorite place to watch sports. Their indoor projector is perfect for any weather, and they've revamped their upstairs area with more TVs to take in all of the action. Their menu features hand-battered chicken tenders, juicy burgers, fresh salads, and the tastiest pizza in Knoxville. You can enjoy their happy hour drink specials daily from open until 6 p.m. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
We make it easy to save money. Get access to thousands of discounts on shopping, dining, and travel with the C&B Plus Perks account. It's a powerful new way to save money with roadside assistance, cell phone protection, identity theft protection, and credit monitoring. Banking at C&B has its perks. Call or stop by a branch for more details.
Citizens National Bank. Banking never felt so good.
Member FDIC.
Big Orange Country's home for sports. This is Fan Run Radio. The buzzer has sounded. We are headed to overtime with William Patteson on Fox Sports Knoxville. This is Fan Run Radio.
And here we go, live from the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios. It's overtime with William Patteson and Dawson Wise joining you on a Thursday from Knoxville, Tennessee. We appreciate you listening along with us. Plenty to cover over the next hour. The NBA Finals tip-off tonight, my favorite time of year. We'll dive into Game 1 between the Thunder and Pacers. A little bit later on, Aaron Rodgers has a new home, and the Steelers still don't have a quarterback. But we'll talk about that a little bit later on. The Braves, an ultimate collapse today. Dawson will voice his fiery opinion about that. But we'll begin today on the diamond with Tennessee baseball as we'll go on the mound in Fayetteville as Tony Vitello doesn't have a set pitching plan yet for Tennessee baseball super regional at Arkansas, but he expects to have a, quote, firm decision before the Vols leave for Fayetteville tomorrow.
So like today.
Probably deciding.
Probably right now.
Tony, if you're out there are a couple of good opinions here. So maybe he's listening to us.
There we go.
But he went on to say, quote, just map all that stuff out as best we can and embrace the chaos when we start. The Vols coach said earlier today, the primary decision for the Vols is whether Liam Doyle or Marcus Phillips will start in the opener on June 7th, and that game's at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN, with a trip to the College World Series on the line. Doyle, who boasts a 10-3 record on the season and a 2.84 ERA, has been Tennessee's Game 1 starter in all but 2 instances this season, but he pitched twice in the Knoxville Regional, including in the June 2nd final against Wake Forest. The SEC Pitcher of the Year threw 135 pitches between his 104-pitch start against Miami of Ohio and his outing against Wake Forest, where he pitched 31 times. Now, Marcus Phillips, coming off a strong performance himself, 4 for 4 on the season with a 3.71 ERA. He will have a full week's rest before the regional opens after he made his last start on May 31st, which was Saturday, against Cincinnati. Phillips threw 98 pitches against the Bearcats, and he struck out 8 guys and had a really, really strong 6.5 innings of work. Now, the Vols will have a fully loaded bullpen as well to go behind Doyle and Phillips in whichever order Vitello and his staff choose to pair with. But I want to focus on kind of this schedule, if you will, because last time you played Arkansas, it was Marcus Phillips day one. Now, obviously, that was a little bit of a different series. That first game was on a Thursday, so you were a little bit out of your normal situation.
Right.
But, look, do you go Doyle in game 1? Do you go Phillips in game 1? I really would not mind going Marcus Phillips game 1 on Saturday, giving him a full week's rest to go off of a really strong performance that he just had last Saturday against Cincinnati, like we just mentioned. And if that's the game where Tennessee it's not their night. And I'm not saying that game 1 isn't going to be their night, because all of these games are going to be relatively close. At least pregame, the spread will be very tight. I feel like having Doyle have a full week's rest almost and going on Sunday would set up for him to be able to be at full strength and also give him an opportunity to kind of see what Arkansas's lineup does on Saturday.
Yeah.
Give him a little bit of an opportunity to get comfortable in Fayetteville. I would go Marcus Phillips day 1. I would go Liam Doyle day 2. And hopefully the schedule in terms of the bullpen, you're able to get a strong performance out of an A.J. Russell behind Phillips or behind Doyle, whatever it may be. But if you can get strong pitching after the starters, a strong relief, I should say, then that makes me more comfortable for day 3. Now, we'll talk more about day 3 here in a second, because I think that could be a situation where it gets a little dicey, especially considering the guy that last time started against Arkansas didn't even pitch this past weekend. But I would go Phillips day 1. You did it last time you played these guys, and it went well. Give Doyle a little bit more rest since he pitched on Monday night, and give him the opportunity to scout a little bit. So I go Phillips, Doyle, and then figure it out Sunday. We'll get to Sunday here in a second, but that would be my schedule.
Yeah, another reason why I would go Marcus Phillips, and it's one we touched on yesterday, and I want to say we touched on it on Tuesday as well, and that is that Cannon Peebles for Tennessee will not play in the opener because he got ejected in the 8th inning after that strikeout. He's not eligible to play. Tennessee's going to have to catch Stone Lawless in that game. Marcus Phillips is a little more familiar than Liam Doyle with Stone Lawless, just their dynamics. Obviously his pitch spots, they use that pitch comm now, just a little more familiarity. I want all the familiarity we can have this weekend because the margin for error is so small. And for Marcus Phillips, any comfortability you can give him after an effort like that, I get you're more confident in. But anything you can do to make his life a little easier, I want to do it. You're going to have Stone Lawless out there. I think that provides Marcus Phillips a better opportunity than it does, okay, hey, Liam Doyle, you're really great, but go out there and learn a completely different catcher in the biggest start of the year. I don't want to test that. I would rather, all right, let's go with Marcus Phillips. Let's get Peebles back for game 2. He'll be fresh, too. He gets a night, he gets an involuntary night off, if you will, but can come back and catch Liam Doyle, who he's caught a lot more this season. So I would go Phillips for comfortability, for rest. And, by the way, he started game 1 in Fayetteville 2 weeks ago, and Tennessee won that game. So, for a number of reasons, I would go Phillips, too. I talked about it a few weeks ago, just making it permanent. Let's start making Marcus Phillips the game 1 guy and go Doyle in game 2. By the way, last year, Tennessee did just that. Stamos game 1 and kind of an opener spot. You could go Marcus Phillips in a game 1 spot, and then your ace went in game 2. Drew Beam last year, even Chase Dolander 2 years ago. And then, obviously, this year it would be Liam Doyle. So I would go Phillips as well. Phillips, Doyle, and then who knows what's going to happen in game 3. We'll get into that now.
So when asked about day 3, Vitello, in a very Tony Vitello way, said, quote, day 3 doesn't exist until it comes.
Yeah, that's about what I expected of Tony Vitello.
In a matchup like this, though, I would expect for it to come because this is going to be a really, really tough series.
Yeah.
Two very talented teams. We talked about it yesterday. Probably the two most talented teams in the country on paper, and maybe they had different paths to get to this point, but on paper, very, very talented players up and down both these rosters. If the Super Regional reaches a third game, the likely options to start are A.J. Russell, 2-1 on the season with a 3.52 ERA, Tegan Coons, 2-4, a 5.40 ERA, and Tegan Coons didn't even play this past weekend.
Well, and he pitched against Arkansas back in Game 3 and did not look good.
As I foreshadowed earlier, it didn't go well. I don't really love Coons at this spot. I think he's going to be a good player long term. He's young. Dawson.
I'm not saying he's not going to be good. And this has been said on the air. I'm not the first one to say this on the air. There's been other people that have said it. I don't think he's going to be here long enough to be a good player.
Oh, you believe he transfers out?
I think he's leaving.
There have been some murmurs, but we'll focus on at least what's in front of us. I get what
you're saying,
yes.
though, but I'm just, that's what that look was for.
Yes, okay. I think Coons will be a good player long term, whether it's in Knoxville or not. But I don't think he's ready. I think he's a little over his skis, and you saw that in SEC play. Brandon Arvidsson, a guy that when he came into Tennessee, he turned a lot of heads. Wow, that could be a guy that possibly is your day 3 starter. 2-0 on the season, 4.34 ERA. Hasn't had a ton of opportunities, but his last couple outings have been really, really strong. You could also throw Dylan Loy, as you did. Well, I guess Russell got the, what was it? Did Loy start?
Loy played twice. I think he started one of the games, but didn't throw a ton of pitches in.
Yeah, I think Loy started.
He did not start Monday. I think he might have started the Sunday game.
Okay.
I think.
It might be that. It might be Sunday then. I'm getting my games mixed up.
I think so. Something like that. I think it was Loy Arvidsson in that third game, that first Wake Forest game.
Yeah. So Loy on the season 4-0, 3.98 ERA. And he was an opener. Yeah, the opener against Wake Forest. That's what he was. He started the first game against Wake Forest.
Yeah.
And also played in a couple of different spots throughout the season. But
pitched in that Monday game as well. Came in through 15 pitches.
Yeah. So he's been available, and you've gone to him before. You went to him in a loss to Wake Forest. But Russell, Arvidsson, and Loy are all likely to be bullpen pitchers as well in the first 2 games. So we've seen Russell pitch in relief for Phillips, and then we saw him on Monday against Wake Forest. Arvidsson has been a long reliever in back-to-back outings as well, was outstanding in both. Coons did not pitch. Who would you feel most comfortable with in a Game 3 situation? And would you feel comfortable going into a Game 3? I think there is, as we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks, there's a lot more momentum coming out of Hoover to where you've had some strong performances. A.J. Russell starting to play like, the guy he was before all the injuries.
The guy who could make a lot of money one day.
Exactly. And he still will. Arvidsson kind of came out of the catacombs a little bit, and he's been really strong in his couple of outings. So I feel more comfortable than I did last time we played Arkansas. And I feel like if you can piece it together, kind of like you did on Monday against Wake Forest, I feel like you can make it work. Arkansas, a much better team than Wake Forest, obviously. But if you can get strong efforts here and there, an inning and a half from Loy, 2 innings from Arvidsson, a relief effort from Russell for an inning. Hell, I don't know how logical it would be, but, you get to the 8th, 9th inning.
Oh, no, not again.
Here comes the madman. Now, in my hypothetical, you would not see him because I would say start Doyle on Saturday, and there's no way they'd let him go after throwing 100 pitches on a Saturday, I guess Sunday I should say. Monday would be the third game.
Back-to-back days. That's not.
But
bad.
if you do start him on Saturday, maybe he says, "Coach, can I just get the ball for an inning?
Can I have the ball?"
Yeah. But again, if you can piece it together, I feel more comfortable than I did a couple weeks ago. But it all really comes down to how you perform in those first 2 games to allow you to have healthy arms going into a Game 3.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going to get at. I feel a lot more comfortable now than I did pre-Hoover coming out of that Fayetteville and the Vanderbilt series. I feel a lot better now than I did then about specifically your Game 3 pitchers. By then, you kind of knew what you had in Marcus Phillips. He had started to improve really in the Vanderbilt series. I think it's when you saw him start to pull things together. And Liam Doyle's been Liam Doyle all year, struggled against Arkansas. I can't imagine that he will let himself struggle like that again, the competitor that he is. So, but it just kind of depends. If Doyle gets shelled again, or if Phillips were to get shelled and have to come out a little bit early, Phillips, I can't remember for the life of me how long he went against Arkansas in Game 1 a couple weeks ago, but I want to say it was 4 innings, 5 innings, something like that. If he can give you that again, I feel pretty good. It's going to depend on the usage as well of those guys that would be in a day 3. Like if A.J. Russell's come in and throw 90 pitches, I don't love that for a Game 3. I think you need him. But then, of course, you can get 100 pitches out of Brandon Arvidsson in a game like that, which he did against Texas and against Wake Forest. So I feel pretty good. You've got guys that have come out of the woodwork at the right time to where you don't have to feel like, hey, if we don't have this specific group of 3 guys, we will not win a Game 3. Now you've got Tanner Franklin, who's come on strong the last couple weeks. You've got Braden Krenzel, who had his best effort of the year. You talk about a big spot for a freshman to have his best effort. Do or die, season on the line. Hey, we're giving you the ball in a close game. Come in and keep it close. And he does. So you have him out of the bullpen. You have Loy. Nate Snead, I'm a little bit more shaky on after that Wake Forest performance in Game 3, but he's another guy that apparently went to Tony Vitello and said, hey, I want another chance. Yeah. So if you absolutely need him, I would put him in a little bit less leverage spot, I guess, but he's another arm that's out there. And you've got others, just here and there. Breedlove can give you an inning or a batter. You've got other guys as well. So I feel confident that you have enough guys now that even if you have to use a Russell in a big spot for a long time or a Franklin in a big spot for a long time, that you can still have enough guys to piece together a Game 3.
Marcus Phillips started Tennessee's opener during its regular season series at Arkansas, which was UT's first win at Baum-Walker Stadium under Tony Vitello. He allowed 3 runs on 7 hits and 3 walks in 4 1/3 innings.
They went 4 1/3. I guess I could have just waited a second. He
struck out 3 in the 10-7 win on May 15th. And Liam Doyle, the SEC Pitcher of the Year, did not perform up to expectation against the Razorbacks in his first meeting with them. Had his rockiest start of the season. Allowed 8 runs with 6 earned on 11 hits and 2 walks in 4 2/3 innings. And he struck out 10, but there was a lot of offense from the Razorbacks in that outing. And obviously Marcus Phillips coming off a really strong performance. So is Liam Doyle. And a little bit of a, Tennessee history type moment. Coming back a couple of days after pitching 100-something pitches on Friday and then stepping in on Monday and saying, no, I'm taking this team to the Super Regionals, whether I've got to pitch a couple more innings or not. I feel like he's got a lot of momentum himself, like this pitching staff does. The blister did not seem to be an issue this weekend. And that was a big thing that kind of lingered from the Arkansas meeting and really into the Texas matchup as well. The blister, not an issue. I feel like Doyle bounces back emphatically, either on Saturday or Sunday, whenever he goes. Because he is at least, there's a saying, you just got to see one go through, right? In basketball, you just got to see one go through to gain some momentum again. He saw one go through on Friday against Miami of Ohio. I mean, hit one from half court against Wake Forest on Monday, stepping into that position. I feel like he's got his momentum back. He's got his swagger back. His pitches were a lot more in the zone and not as erratic as they were against Texas and Arkansas. I feel like he'll bounce back in a really good way. And that momentum and seeing a couple go through this past weekend, I think, are a big portion of that.
Yeah, he's a competitor and the ultimate competitor, and I think that is part of it too. I imagine he's watched his Arkansas film and said, hey, there's a few things I could have done better. I think he did not have the command of his fastball that we've seen from him, and kind of leaving it in bad spots, and Arkansas is going to hit him. Arkansas is a really good team. They have a number of players that got individual accolades, and that's for a reason. So, just missing your spots, even by a little bit. And he wasn't horribly erratic against Arkansas, I don't think. Texas was worse to me.
Yeah.
But in the Arkansas outing, it just felt like he was leaving pitches where, against other teams he hadn't. And you got to imagine he's gone back through that probably more times than we can count, right? Where he's like, hey, I'm not going to do that again. He's scouting himself, and he's going to change his approach. And he's too much of a competitor to have that kind of effort again, to me. Loves the big moment. This is the biggest moment of the year. I mean, it continues to be, hey, this is the biggest moment. Now this is. And it seems like every time the moment gets bigger, his performance seems to get bigger. And if he does that again, I fully expect him to bounce back. Got to imagine his velocity will be up too. I think that was another problem against Arkansas is that blister, his velocity wasn't nearly what it was.
Yeah.
His first warm-up pitch out of the bullpen against Wake Forest on Monday, 2 days removed from 100 pitches, was 102. I don't think the blisters bother him anymore. Yeah. He'll be hitting his spots. I expect him to bounce back.
Tennessee has a 2-11 mark against Arkansas under Tony Vitello, who was the hitting coach at Arkansas from 2014 to 2017 before he was hired at Tennessee. It has not won a series at Arkansas, have the Volunteers, since 2001. That was before I was even born. And that's way back in the day. I guess I'm not that old, but it's up there. Anyway, is the Arkansas drought substantial, or is it more of a lingering storyline heading into this game? When you look at under Tony Vitello, you've only had, 4 series and then a battle in Hoover at one point. So you had one on a neutral site. One series was in Knoxville, and you've had 3 down at Baum-Walker Stadium. And there have been a lot of different teams. Now, obviously, Tennessee just matched up with them less than a month ago at Arkansas, but you were able to get a win. And if things didn't go haywire on that, Saturday matchup where there's the balk, who knows where that
You're
game
in that
goes.
game too at that point.
So I can see a little bit of both. Arkansas, a very, very strong team. They've got a great home environment. They're well coached, riddled with talent. Tennessee is very talented too. Mm-hmm. We're not as strong in SEC play, but momentum in baseball is a big thing. Why the hell is Murray State playing baseball this weekend? They got momentum in Oxford. Why the hell is Duke hosting a regional this weekend? Well, they got momentum. Momentum in baseball is a big thing, and I feel like Tennessee has started to hit their groove where bats 5 through 9 were really strong in the Knoxville Regional.
Very.
You got some really consistent pitching production throughout the weekend. Put you in good spots. I feel like it's more of a storyline at this point because this is a different Tennessee team than Arkansas matched up with against less than a month ago. I think Liam Doyle, if he's able to go 6-7 innings, playing like the SEC pitcher of the year, this thing's definitely going to a Game 3.
Yeah.
And I rely on an Andrew Fisher and a Gavin Keelan in the top of your order to knock a couple, maybe not home runs, but get a couple of balls in play.
Yeah.
Hunter Inslee is due for a
big time. He's due big time.
He's due for a big day himself. If you can get 5 through 9 to give you a little bit of what you got last weekend, Levi Clark get a couple of base hits. Mm-hmm. I don't really expect Manny Marin to go yard again, but if you can get a Reese Chapman to get on base a couple of times, just the incremental stuff, I feel like Tennessee could be in a good spot, and this whole Arkansas shtick is more of a lingering story than substantial.
I think it could be a little bit of both. I think you do have to credit the environment at Baum-Walker Stadium, which for a long time has been really good. It was good 2 weeks ago. It'll be good this weekend. It'll be probably better than it has been in a long time because, Arkansas has a bit of a trend themselves of not making it to Omaha over the past several years. So, another opportunity for them to get back. They've missed it the last 2 years. You got to imagine that will play into it, and I think that's part of it. But I also think it's a little bit of a lingering storyline. You mentioned how few times Tennessee has gone there since their last series win in 2001, and it's not been much. And that's schedule design in baseball. It's just kind of how that works. You don't play on the road at certain teams a lot. Tennessee, it's Vanderbilt typically that you'll see that. They'll play them every year, and it'll just alternate. Arkansas, you don't even play them every year. This was the first year you played them in the regular season, I want to say in 3 or 4 years, which goes into that number of Vitello against Arkansas. The other win was back 4 years ago when you won on the Sunday game. So I think that's part of it too. I paralleled it a little bit to back in February when the Lady Vols beat UConn for the first time since 2007. Well, they'd only played them, I want to say like twice in that span, and it had been the first time in 2 or 3 years. So I kind of mirror it to that. Yeah, the streak exists, but you really haven't played them enough for me to sit here and be like, well, you played them every year since 2001 and you've never beaten them there. That's not the case. You played them a few times, you haven't won. You just don't go there enough. So there's a little bit to it. The environment's really good, but also it's just lingering. Every team is different. This team is different. Arkansas is a different team. Again, If this was the MLB where you have the same roster every year for a decade, okay, you don't. This is a different team, different players that don't remember the last time Tennessee played at Baum Walker Stadium, other than this year, of course.
Yeah. All right. The Super Regionals in Fayetteville this weekend. They start Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. The Volunteers and Razorbacks, two of the most talented teams in the country, doing battle with a spot in Omaha on the line. Should be a great, great series of baseball this weekend. But when we come back, we'll talk about a great, great series in the NBA and the NHL. The NBA Finals, Stanley Cup Finals. We'll break it down when we return right here on Fan Run Radio.
Can't get enough Fan Run Radio? Download the free Fan Run app and take the best Tennessee sports conversations with you wherever you go.
White Claw is taking hard seltzer to new heights with White Claw Surge. At 8% alcohol, White Claw Surge is a stronger wave of refreshment that doesn't compromise on taste. Available in 4 bold waves of flavor like ripe blackberry, citrusy blood orange, zesty natural lime, and tart cranberry. Check out your favorite retailer in-store and online for the White Claw Surge Variety 12-pack and 16-ounce single-serve cans. White Claw Surge. Please drink responsibly.
Yee-haw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues, every bet type you can imagine, live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Make sure you use the promo code FANRUN to take advantage of their welcome bonus and so they know that we sent you. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-8899-789. Must be 21 or older and located in Tennessee to bet.
Are you ready to show off that confident, radiant smile you've always dreamed of? Well, here at Knoxville Smiles, we're ready to turn your dream into a reality. At Knoxville Smiles, we're more than just a dental practice. We're your partners in achieving optimum oral health. From routine cleanings and checkups to advanced cosmetics and restorative procedures, we offer a wide range of services in an environment that makes every visit a positive and comfortable experience. At Knoxville Smiles, it's about more than just treatments. We're focused on creating a welcoming environment where you feel like family. Our state-of-the-art facilities are designed with your comfort in mind, and our friendly staff is always ready to address your questions and concerns. Don't wait any longer to achieve a beautiful smile you deserve. Schedule your appointment at Knoxville Smiles today and take that first step towards a healthier, happier you. Call us at 865-539-1776 to book your appointment today, or just visit our website at knoxvillesmiles.com.
We really need to get some branded stuff. Shirts, hats, promo items, something professional.
I mean, we could just find a website and order a bunch of it ourselves.
You could, but you're taking a big risk. You don't know the quality, the fit, the timeline. It's a roll of the dice.
Yeah, I guess, but isn't that how everyone does it now?
Not the ones who actually care about how their brand looks. Look, if we're putting our name on it, it needs to be done right. We need SM Athletics.
SM Athletics?
Yeah, they specialize in working with businesses like ours. Apparel, hats, promo gear, but real, customized stuff. They actually care if it turns out right.
Probably a lot better than getting stuck with 100 t-shirts with crooked logos.
Exactly. Plus, they'll walk you through everything. Sizing, colors, material, so it matches the image we're trying to build.
Makes sense. What's the name again?
SM Athletics. Trust me, if you want to look like a real company, not a flea market stand, this is the move. If you're serious about your brand, work with people who are serious about getting it right. SM Athletics.
105.7 FM, 1340 AM, online at fanrunradio.com, and streaming on the free Fan Run Radio app. This is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
All right, back here on Overtime. We appreciate you listening along with us, whether it be on the free Fan Run Radio app, 105.7 FM or 1340 AM right here in Knoxville, Tennessee on the local dial, or on the X/YouTube live stream. However you're listening or watching, we do appreciate your time. All right, it's the finals countdown with two small market teams set to face off for the Larry O'Brien Trophy there remains a good bit of the NBA viewing public who perhaps didn't see much of the Oklahoma City Thunder or Indiana Pacers on national TV this season. So allow us to bring you up to date on the action that's about to go down over the next couple of days. We'll begin with the Oklahoma City Thunder and what they bring to the table. Oklahoma City has been a very well-oiled machine all year long. 68 wins on the season, teetering on historic level numbers that they have put up throughout the year in terms of turnover differential and defensive efficiency, offensive efficiency. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the MVP, Lou Dort and Jalen Williams, both all defensive team players. And if Chet Holmgren and Caruso and Isaiah Hartenstein played more, they would have probably been on the all defensive teams as well. This is a very, very good basketball team, and they're so good offensively because of the way Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is able to break down defenses. And though he might do it a little unorthodoxly by, is that a word? It might be a little unorthodox in the way he does it. There we go. Bang. Errors and omissions. Bang. Hopefully we hear a couple Mike Breen bangs tonight. But anyway, the way Shai Gilgeous-Alexander does it, it might be unorthodox in the way that he draws a lot of fouls, but the way he breaks down defenses, gets his guys open and allows them to have a lot of separation themselves. The Thunder are a really hard team to beat that way. And then there's the defensive part, which they're almost better at. And really, they probably are better than their offense defensively because they turn you over. And it's not throwing it out of bounds and dribbling it off your shoe. It's guys like Alex Caruso getting up in your grill and ripping it on ball. And that then turns into their transition offensively to where it's just there's so many different things that the Thunder can do to you. Defensively, it's the versatility, it's the ruggedness, it's getting up in your grill. Offensively, it's watching Shai Gilgeous-Alexander do his thing, and that kind of encapsulates a defense to where you've got so many different opportunities on the perimeter or inside for lob opportunities. The Thunder, not a big market team, but they've done it the right way. They've drafted well. They've signed guys on really good deals. Alex Caruso, Isaiah Hartenstein, they've identified the type of team they want to be. And that's why they're in this spot tonight, a very well-oiled machine. And they remind me of those Alabama teams in the early 2010s. They've just got a little bit of everything, and they're better than you at everything you try to throw at them. Oklahoma City, a really well-oiled team. Dawson, what do you make of them?
Well, not a ton to add. You kind of covered it. Look, gritty defensive group, kind of a not really. I don't know if I should call it a throwback. So we still see these teams, but again, kind of a team that harkens to an era of the NBA that's not glorified anymore. Now it's what team can score 125 points and hit 63s and bring in guys that can shoot it from everywhere at every position, and who can have 5 guys out there that can all be on the perimeter. So in an era where that game is glorified, kind of the game that Golden State really brought into popularity of let's rain as many threes as possible and score a ton of points. The Thunder are kind of we have a guy that can slash to the rim. We have some guys that can hit threes, every now and then, some good shooters, but it's not the primary focus of our game. It's let's go to the rim, let's hit mid-range jumpers, let's play good defense, let's be physical, have a preset role for everybody on the floor where, again, now you have players like Karl Anthony Towns that are shooting threes as a center. You don't really see that from Oklahoma City. It's not a bunch of threes from Chet Holmgren. He's going to play in the paint. He's going to play his role, and they're going to have other players that can shoot threes. And it's just it's a game that's not glorified anymore, and it's really cool to see it work. It's really cool to see Oklahoma City that they built it that way in an era like this, and they are still as successful as they are. Again, gritty, scrappy. They brought in guys that are not superstars. You're not bringing in the big max contract guys. I'm not saying Indiana did, and I think that's part of what makes them unique too. But they didn't build a super team. They didn't need to. They just brought in guys that work, guys that give you a little bit of something. Lou Dort, you talked about him earlier. Alex Caruso, Hartenstein, you talked about him as well. Both Jalen Williams, which I still think is funny to me. They have 2 guys, Jalen Williams, on the same team, spelled differently. Even Isaiah Joe gives just a little bit of something. The fact they built it that way is so interesting to me, and it's, again, something in an era where scoring and everybody can score 30 points and everybody can rain threes. Oklahoma City did it differently, the old way, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Well, we'll move to the Indiana Pacers, who made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, but were disposed of by the Boston Celtics. But this year, they were able to make it back to the Eastern Conference Finals, and this time they're the representative out of the Eastern Conference in the NBA Finals. And the three things I love about this Pacers team that they have demonstrated ever since Aaron Nesmith and Andrew Nebhard were fully healthy in early January, they play with great pace, no pun intended. They love to push the tempo. They love to get Tyrese Halliburton the ball up and out in space. You've got Obi Toppin rim running. You've got guys like Benedict Mathurin and Aaron Nesmith and Ben Shepherd all following in along the perimeter for shots. When they're out in pace and they're out in transition, this is a very tough team to stop, and we've seen that throughout this postseason. The second thing I love is the depth. Both these teams have great depth. The Pacers go a little bit deeper into their lineup. I don't anticipate we'll see the same amount of characters in this series, but when you've got guys like Thomas Bryant as your 11th or 12th best man, a guy that's got a lot of NBA experience, you've drafted well with guys like Jarris Walker and Ben Shepherd, Benedict Mathurin. Those guys are able to be big-time impacts. And then Aaron Nesmith and Andrew Nebhard have the two best deals in the NBA in terms of the value and what they make per season, because those guys should be making a lot more than they make. But the Pacers signed those guys early on in their career because they believed in them, and now it's paying dividends. Obviously, Halliburton and Siakam, the big story with this team. The depth is really, really big. Finally, the chip on their shoulder that they play with. They like to get up in your grill, and they like to kind of talk a little bit of smack. They've got some swagger to them. Now, I don't think it'd be a good idea to do that up against some of these guys for the Thunder, but they have this chip on their shoulder to where they kind of represent what it's like to be a small market team. They represent the little guy. You know, they go into Madison Square Garden, and in game one, they come back from down 20, and Tyrese Halliburton's not afraid to go tell everyone in Madison Square Garden, that they just choked and did the infamous Reggie Miller. Like, that's a chip on their shoulder, and that's the thing I really like about this Indiana team. They play with a lot of pace. They get back in transition defensively as well. When you really look at it, Oklahoma City and Indiana are similar teams, but the way they've been made up is just a little bit different. And I look at the pace, the chip on their shoulder, and the depth as the big three things for the Pacers. Yeah,
again, not a ton to add. I love the way this Pacers team operates, and I've been high on them since that Cleveland series, really, on this show. Their depth, and their depth is unique to other teams. Where other teams are going to bring guys in, hey, we need 5 minutes out of you. Just just kind of hold the lead, if you will. Don't expect to do anything special. This Pacers team, like Ben Mathurin could be your third guy off the bench, and he can go get you 20 points. I mean, that's just not something a lot of teams can say they can do. And it's also depth to where you don't need Tyrese Halliburton or Miles Turner or Pascal Siakam to get you 35. Now, those guys can. They're perfectly capable. Siakam, averaged 20 in that Eastern Conference Finals series. But they don't need to on any given night. They can have nights where they go get 6, and where Halliburton has 8 and 15 assists. And that works because they have other guys that can pick up the scoring. It's not, well, we have depth, but they're going to get you 6 points. They're going to get you a few buckets. They can go have starter-level minutes as a 9th guy in the rotation. That's something we have not seen out of a lot of teams in a really long time. Really, I haven't really seen it a lot. Again, I'm not as big in the NBA as you, but I haven't seen it a ton. So that's what makes them unique to me. The pace, also the transition. They kind of are, I won't say the opposite of Oklahoma City, but it kind of feels that way. Where Oklahoma City is defense, gritty, every role is kind of concrete. Indiana's very flexible.
Yeah.
Miles Turner can step out and shoot threes. He can go to the rim. Obi Toppin can rim run. Pascal Siakam can do a little bit of everything, which he's done, by the way, in the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
That's unique in this series, too. By the way, the only player with NBA Finals experience on either team is Pascal Siakam. So that's something that I think gives Indiana at least a little bit of juice tonight, being in the spot for the first time. And they're fun to watch. Again, being 9-10 guys deep, it's something you don't see a lot. Harkens me back to when the Phoenix Suns used to do that. Oh, what a bygone era that is. No, Indiana's unique. They're fun. And their depth is just so interesting. They don't need their number one star to get 40 points a night.
I'm about to rival you with some NBA nerd knowledge.
Okay.
Pascal Siakam, one of 2 players with NBA Finals experience. Can you guess the other? Pacers big man.
Pacers big.
Thomas Bryant.
Is it Bryant?
Thomas
Really?
Bryant, 2023 NBA champion for the Nuggets.
Really?
Yeah, but I don't think his experience will be as valuable as Siakam. But that's the nerd
he's
coming
still
out
on
of
that
me.
team. I mean, it still matters.
Yes, exactly.
Oklahoma City has 0. I mean,
Yeah.
so.
Well, I guess Alex Caruso as well. You got Alex Caruso with
Okay.
his time with the Lakers.
Was he on the bubble team?
Yes, he was. Big part of that team.
How much do you count that NBA Finals?
Oh, no, we're not going down that road.
I'm not saying
we're not
I don't
going
count
down
the
that
championship,
road.
William. I'm saying how much do you value the experience of that?
Oh, I mean,
do you value that though? Because I mean, I guess in games 1 and 2, that's fine because they're playing at home. On the road, he didn't have to go play a road game in that NBA Finals.
I hate that. Oh, this conversation gets me rolling.
He didn't have to go play a road game.
I think the bubble was even harder to
Really?
win.
Okay, I mean, that's fair.
Because you're in a small, tight
I
window.
will value that opinion because the Phoenix Suns went to Orlando and went 8-0
Yeah, there
in the
you go.
bubble. So I'll value that opinion.
I think it was tougher to win because it was in a smaller, like the depth perception when you play in these NBA arenas. Like it's a lot easier to shoot.
That part is fair.
A lot
I'll give
easier
you
to
that
shoot
part.
when the walls are close.
To me, it's the crowd atmosphere that you didn't have, and I
Yeah.
think that means something in sports.
I mean, hell,
especially once you get to the finals.
What was it? Timothy, Lou Cabot, whatever it was, Kabawate had like 42 in one of those games in the bubble. Hell, Tyler Warren.
TJ Warren
had
bubble god. TJ Warren.
Yeah, gosh, yeah. When those guys start having those type of performances, like, yeah, this is a little bit harder. But no one wants to have that conversation. Anyway, we'll move back to tonight, Game 1 between the Thunder and Pacers. What we're looking for tonight, for me, a couple of things. How do the Pacers defend Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? My prediction is Aaron Nesmith, and then you'll have Andrew Nebhard kind of as a secondary defender because of how good he is off ball. When they originally matched up, it was a heavy dose of Nebhard and Nesmith, but Nebhard got into foul trouble, so they had to throw a little bit of Nesmith on him. They've got to stay out of foul trouble. Nesmith, Nebhard, the two most valuable players for the Pacers in this series, in my opinion, because of what they do offensively, but also what they can do defensively as well. I look for that for the Pacers. And then I also look for how does Tyrese Halliburton handle all of the pressure that the Thunder will be giving him. They're going to get up in his grill. They're going to be physical. The Pacers' offense is based on the amount of pace they can get out with, the amount of steam they can get going before the opposing defense sets up. When you go back and watch that Eastern Conference Finals, when the Knicks forced the Pacers to play half-court offense and isolation basketball, it was ugly. And the Thunder are one of the best teams in the league in isolation basketball, defensively. Tyrese Halliburton's not going to be able to dance and do all of that like he was able to a couple of times in that Knicks series. I look at the defense for Oklahoma City and how big of a factor it is against Tyrese Halliburton. I'll call my shot. We said it earlier on the slate. I've got the Thunder big. I think this is a good spot for them. I feel like the Pacers will win a couple of games in this series. I don't think they'll win, but tonight's going to be a little bit of a whoa. Right, this is a little bit more intense than what we've been up against.
Yeah, a couple things. One for each team that I'm looking at, and then also I'll call my shot as well. For Oklahoma City, I'm going to go back to what I said on the slate. I said it last night. I continue to say it, and it's going to be very early that this becomes apparent. It is what kind of basketball are they going to allow these two teams to play? And by that I mean what kind of whistle does this series have? Why is that relevant? Because of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Whether you like it or not, it is how he plays. He is good at it. It's a lot of his production, and it helps them win games. And their fans love it. A lot of other people don't like it, especially in a spot like the NBA Finals. A lot of people tonight that have not seen a lot of Oklahoma City are going to watch this game, and if it's a tight Shai Gilgeous-Alexander whistle, they will likely not like the series very much because it's going to be a lot of, okay, let's stop play and let's get them to the free throw line. I think that helps Oklahoma City. Indiana can't run in transition. I think that helps them. But to me, that's going to be a big factor. And how do you replace his production if the whistle's a little more lenient, if Indiana's able to be a little more physical and able to body up Shai a little bit more? How do they replace his production? Can Shai go do it himself and maybe not utilize the free throw line and just go get the same production anyway? I'm curious with that. For Indiana, it's everyone but Tyrese Halliburton. Can they make up what likely he will not get? Lou Dort will play really good. We anticipate really good defense on Tyrese Halliburton in this series. Neesmith, Nemhard, Toppin, Matherin, Siakam. Can you make up what you will not get? And this goes beyond just points. I don't think he'll have the assist numbers he had against the New York Knicks either. Those will be reduced. Lou Dort will play that good a defense. You'll see the ball out of his hands a lot. Will Indiana be able to cope with that? Will they have the offense to make it up? I think Siakam will have some big games in this series. He'll have to. But as a former NBA Finals, a contributing piece on that Raptors team, he's going to know, how to be in these moments when, for example, in that Raptors series, Kawhi's played out of the series a little bit. Siakam has to have big moments. He has literally been in this position before. I value that, but it's the other guys that haven't been there. How do you make up production of a superstar? Call my shot. I think Oklahoma City wins, but I think the Pacers cover +10. I'm going to stick with it. Game 1 performances, Pacers averaging over 120 in Game 1s in this playoffs. A couple of really impressive road wins in Game 1s in Madison Square Garden and against Cleveland, the East #1 seed. In the second round, they led to series victories in both of those series. It got off to a good start in Game 1. They do tonight. I think the Thunder win. I'm giving the Pacers a lot more credit than the odds makers are, and I think that a lot of people that are going to be watching the game tonight are as well.
Yeah, should be a fun one tonight, 8:30 on ABC. Real quick, action on the ice. I want to recap last night's action between the Panthers and Oilers. Started with a bang in the first period. Panthers came out swinging, and it took overtime to get this one decided. Leon Draisaitl, a guy you've mentioned a lot on this show, scored to not only deliver the Oilers a 4-3 victory with a power play goal, but also hand the Panthers their first loss in 31 all-time playoff games under head coach Paul Maurice when they had a lead after the first or second period.
They were 30-0 going into last night.
Big-time comeback for the Oilers and clutch performance from Draisaitl. Your quick takeaways before the break.
First and foremost, before I get into either team, this was a fantastic game of hockey. This is going to be a fast, physical, relentless series, and I believe after last night I'm more convinced it will go the distance again. It was really, really intriguing to watch. Even if you're not a big hockey fan, kind of like the NBA Finals, a lot of people that don't normally watch hockey will just say, hey, the finals are on. Let me tune in. I'd imagine a lot of people were entertained last night. It was really, really good hockey on both sides, and it was a really tight game for both teams. For Edmonton, this is a big moment. If Edmonton had not been able to complete this comeback last night, this series was going to be over in 5 to 6 games, and it was going to be Florida winning again.
Yep.
And it's because I thought Florida, at times last night, matched up really well with the speed and skill of Edmonton, better than I thought they wouldn't, better than they did, quite frankly, last year when they won the series in 7 games. So for Edmonton, this is a big moment. It was another example to me of those two stars, McDavid and Draisaitl. They would not be denied. Last night they were not denied. They score a minute into the game. They score in the final minute of overtime. They would not be denied last night. It's McDavid to Draisaitl to end the game. I thought that was significant. They would not be denied in Game 1. It just kind of shows you, look, this group is – they're motivated, and last night was a big thing for me. That's a big moment for Edmonton. If they lost, this series is done in 5 or 6. For Florida, though, I don't think you can be too upset about this one. On the road in a hostile environment, you led for a majority of the game. After one, you'd scored twice. Brad Marchand, I told you last night, Brad Marchand would get on the score sheet, and he did. He provided a goal for Florida. Good game for him. You just can't be too discouraged. Florida played really good hockey. They matched up physically really well. The physicality provided problems for Connor McDavid, which I wondered about. They were up in McDavid's grill all night, and I think that was a big deal. So really, you can't be too discouraged. They played their style, aggressive, constant pressure, physicality. It appears as if it's going to work. So we're in for a fantastic series. Last night was great. Really curious, Game 2. If Florida wins Game 2, I think this series goes 7. And quite frankly, after last night, I hope it goes 7. Hockey fans deserve this series going 7. These two teams match up really well, and last night was a lot of fun.
Two fun matchups, both in the NBA and the NHL. I hope they keep on extending these series so we get more and more action.
Let us keep talking about it. This is fun.
Yeah, we're about to see how long this series will go tonight, depending on how it goes. But I think Game 2 will be a lot more closer than what I anticipate tonight will be. But there's nothing better than the NBA Finals, nothing better than the Stanley Cup Finals either. When we come back, Aaron Rodgers has a new home and Dawson has something to get off his chest. We'll break it down when we return right here on Fan Run Radio.
Catch up with all things Fan Run by subscribing to our podcast feed. Like, rate, and download the show from the Fan Run app or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is Coach Josh Heupel. In football and life, you need a solid defense to protect what matters most. That's where Farm Bureau Insurance of Tennessee comes in. Score peace of mind with Farm Bureau Insurance, the official insurance of the Vols. They're your line of defense. FBITN.com.
This is Baseball VFL Cody Brown. Farm Bureau Insurance is the official insurance of the Tennessee Vols. I'm here to be that line of defense for all your insurance needs. Give me a call at 865-992-3871 and go Vols.
Barley's has live music on weekends, general team trivia on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m., and now live sports trivia courtesy of the Knoxville Trivia Guys every Thursday night upstairs. The game starts at 7 p.m. and is free to play for everyone, so head on down to the Old City and show off your sports knowledge and win gift cards to Barley's. Use those gift cards to buy some delicious food and drinks, and you can take it all in with their wide selection of TVs and indoor projectors. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
When it's past high noon, it's time for a vodka soda made with a vodka you actually heard of. I'm talking White Claw vodka soda made with White Claw premium vodka. JB Smooth Only Drinks vodka soda made with the world's smoothest vodka.
And you can too. Pick you up a bottle of the Triple Wave filtered vodka that's been distilled 5 times. White Claw Premium Vodka comes in 4 flavors: black cherry, mango, pineapple, and just vodka. You haven't had vodka like this. No one has. White Claw Premium Vodka. Please drink responsibly.
A brand built in Tennessee and born from the love of the game. Inward Half revolutionizes golfing comfort. Crafted by a former pro and dedicated enthusiast just like you, our luxury performance wear guarantees you stay cool and comfortable through every swing and every day. We're not just a brand. We've set out to create a lifestyle for those who understand that impeccable style and premium performance are a hole-in-one. Enjoy the walk-in with Inward Half.
For the fans, by the fans, this is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
All right, back here on Overtime. Final thoughts on this Thursday evening. We'll begin with Aaron Rodgers to the Pittsburgh Steelers. A-Rod finally has a new home after long public flirtation with the Steelers. He's finally decided to. Oh yeah, he's been flirting with them for like 2 months. It's true. It is what it is. Signs a 1-year deal with the Steelers, and while some people might see this headline and say, "Oh my gosh, Aaron Rodgers to the Steelers? What? A playoff team last year with a great defense, and DK Metcalf just joined, and Aaron Rodgers is there? Oh, that's going to be a playoff team, right?" Aaron Rodgers is terrible. He's 42. He's frail. And the Steelers have not had a quarterback ever since Ben Roethlisberger quit playing good football. And this has been a 8-9 year long drought for the Steelers. And this will once again be a plug-and-play quarterback that plays 1 year because he regressed, and they'll have to pick another quarterback next offseason. Now, the Steelers put themselves in this situation, by the way, because they've handicapped themselves over the last 5-6 years by going out and training for DK Metcalf. That's a good addition, but who the hell's throwing him the football? So it seems like they do everything on the roster besides quarterback. I was a big advocate for the Steelers to take Shedeur Sanders. It's a low-risk thing. You could, if it doesn't work out, at least you tried it out. But what sense does it make trying to build a team around Russell Wilson last year or Aaron Rodgers this year? Where's the future there? There's none. There's a reason why Wilson is now eating the Subway Danger Witches in New York.
No, don't bring that back.
There's a reason why Aaron Rodgers will now take ashwagandha trips in Pittsburgh for a season. Invest in a young player. Kenny Pickett didn't work. Okay. Every other team, they whiff, they choose the next one. The Titans, they've whiffed on a lot. Now they're going to whiff on Cam Ward, but at least they're trying. At least they're trying to figure something out. In the NFL, you've got to continue to draft a quarterback until it works. It's a quarterback league. The Steelers continue to go away from it. They have handicapped themselves for another straight season, and a 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers will be their quarterback. I think it's a big disaster, but they don't have a choice.
I don't get it either. Yeah, I don't get plug and play either. I even beyond Shedeur Sanders, I didn't even know about that, but I was more in the camp of keep Justin Fields rather than Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers or whatever you were going to end up with, I would have kept Justin Fields because I thought last year of the guys they put out there, and I'm not saying Justin Fields was great, but he certainly was, I thought, the best option they put out there. At least he gave you a dual aspect. You know, he could run the ball a little bit too. Aaron Rodgers ain't running the ball. Not 42.
Oh,
he
God.
could really never run the ball in his prime either. So, I mean, he's not giving you that. He's frail, like you said. Oh, by the way, he's in an Arthur Smith offense, which already is a handicapped quarterback. So that offense is terrible. And by the way, George Pickens, well, you would have had a great 1-2 punch, so your job is easier. George Pickens is in Dallas now, and you're left with just DK Metcalf and everyone else. So you have one weapon, and you have a quarterback who probably will not play the whole season because he'll get hurt.
Yeah.
So it's a complete disaster. I would have stuck with Fields or, like you said, just drafted somebody, even if it's not Sanders, just somebody. They don't. They go with Aaron Rodgers. He only has one receiver, and I don't get it either. So.
Quick mental health check for the Braves.
No, time constraints, unfortunately, not let me get my full thoughts out. I tweeted during the game earlier. I rarely tweet during Braves regular season games, but I felt like I had to today. I think I tweeted last night, too. Last night was bad enough. I picked them on the slate as one of my best bets because I figured, Arizona's bullpen is bad. Atlanta's kind of found their offense recently, kind of. At least, they're not horrible anymore. And last night they lose 2-0 to Arizona after loading the 2-1 after loading the bases in the ninth inning with one out, proceed to strike out, almost ground into a double play, and then strike out to end the game. That one was frustrating, but okay, whatever. The Diamondbacks are a good team, by the way. I'm not trying to disrespect the Diamondbacks. They're good. They're in a really good division. They've got great players, except for their bullpen, which has been an unmitigated disaster. Today, the Braves got to both the starter and the bullpen. The Braves put up 7 in the third inning. They go up 9-3. They go up 10-4. And going to the ninth inning, you're thinking, all right, they're going to salvage a win. Something's going to go right this week for the Atlanta Braves. They proceed to give up 7 runs across 3 pitchers, 3 home runs in the ninth inning by one guy. Their closer comes in, Raisel Iglesias. He gives up 2 more, which ends up being the game-winning runs. They go down 1-2-3 in the ninth. And I saw the word rock bottom used today for Atlanta, the words rock bottom. I used them myself.
Yeah.
That is where the Braves are. This is as bad as it gets. And for a team that last year, by the way, was worse than this at one point, this is still as bad as it gets. 7 games under 500, 11.5 out of the division, not even close to the playoffs. Haven't won a series in 3 weeks at this point, I think. I'd have to go back and look. Maybe against the Marlins, but the Marlins are even more terrible than the Braves.
Ugh.
Pitchers are not coming through. A.J. Smith-Shawver, I hate it for him. He's out for the season now. He has Tommy John surgery on tap. That's really tough. Chris Sale's been a shadow of last year. Spencer Schwellenbach's been good, but that's about it. You haven't really had another pitcher that's been good. Spencer Strider is not himself anymore, clearly, after his injury troubles, which, again, I hate it for him. He's a really good pitcher. The injuries have kind of derailed his career. And the bats that you've paid $500 million plus for combined, Matt Olson, not having a good year. And this is back-to-back now, not having a good year. Michael Harris, not having a good year. He's hit under 200, I think, for the last year and a half. Like, total. If you put all of his games together, he's now batting 9th. Ozzie Albies, who's been a staple of the Braves for a decade. I watched him in the minor leagues 10 years ago. Not having a good year, especially from the left side of the plate.
Yeah.
It's just not going well. Austin Riley's been good, I think, since he got back. I think you've got some prospects that are promising. Drake Baldwin has been really good the past week. He was NL Rookie of the Week last week, so you have that at least. And you've got some Eli Whites and some guys like that are interesting. I think they could be cool prospects down the line. You've got some guys coming up too in the pitching department that are good. But this team is bad. It's terrible. You put money in the wrong places this offseason. You did not go and get the pieces you needed. Jurickson Profar was great, proceeds to get immediately suspended. Well, he's back in a few weeks, so I guess you're about to get him back. But he goes and gets suspended. You don't add any pitching. You don't add another bat. The decisions to let Max Fried walk, he's having a Cy Young year in New York right now. Freddie Freeman walk, he's the second best hitter on the Dodgers, only to Shohei Ohtani, who's the greatest player on earth right now. The decisions to let those 2 guys walk, you've let other guys walk as well in the last few years. Dansby Swanson as well, having a great year in Chicago, who is leading their division. The decisions to let those guys walk and get what has become value replacements for them has not worked. It's on the GM for that. The coaching decisions in the bullpen have been bad. The lineup decisions have been bad. It is time to move on from everyone. GM, coach, this is a year where you clean out, you sell at the deadline, and you rebuild. And I hate that for this Atlanta Braves team because this core is so promising. You're just not going to win anything with the way it's currently built. It's a bad baseball team, plain and simple, and they are not going anywhere anytime soon.
Wow. That's the full mental health check. That's everything right there. Now you can rest. Now you're good.
Yeah, I'm going to rest because I'm not watching them anymore.
At least you can you can rest tonight, and then you'll have to wake up and watch them play baseball again at some point.
Oh, no, they're going to San Francisco, and if they allow Brian Snitker on the plane, I think I will choose not to watch.
Well, they're going to San Francisco. Might as well reroute to Galveston.
I don't even know if I'd send them to Galveston. What's worse than Galveston?
I don't know. Honestly, like a creek or something. You're just going away from a beach at that point.
Tellico Plains.
I don't even know where that is, but I'll go.
Tennessee. It's like an hour from here.
I'll go along with it. All right, that's going to wrap it up for a Thursday edition of OT. We appreciate you listening along with us. For Dawson Wise, I'm William Patteson. We'll see you next time.
Starting right now, it's game